So Fabio Wardley has activated the rematch, and this is where bravery meets reality. The first fight showed heart, danger, power, and problems. But a rematch is not about emotion. It is about the science of boxing. Because against Daniel Dubois, one mistake can open the door to disaster. When confidence becomes a detriment. In the lead-up, Wardley was very confident. He was not just talking, he was skillfully questioning Dubois' courage, testing his psychology before the first bell. You can see he believed he had found weakness in the matrix. He looked in great shape, sharp, strong, and prepared. But confidence must survive contact. Think of this. Belief is powerful, but belief without defense becomes danger. So what did Wardley do well? Well, Wardley had moments of real quality. The two right hands at the beginning of round one were fast, clean, and impactful. The overhand right in round three was a very powerful punch. The feints were there, the movement was there. He tried to set traps and counter under pressure. That showed creativity. Think of this. Genius is not landing once. Genius is repeating success under fire. So what did Wardley do wrong? There were serious technical problems. There were not enough jabs, not enough left hooks. His head stayed over the front foot too long at times. There was no consistent bodywork. More importantly, he did not make adjustments. The same problems kept returning. That is where fights are lost. Think of this. If you cannot change the pattern eventually breaks you. So what must Fabio Wardley do differently? He needs to introduce more jabs because that will make this fight more competitive. Wardley has a good jab, but he must trust it. Against Justice Hooney and Joseph Parker, his punches appeared faster and harder. He needs to rediscover that rhythm. The left hook must also become a weapon, not an accident. Think of this. The jab starts the conversation, but the left hook changes the language. The importance of the jab. One of the big factors was Dubois' feet and his jab. Wardley needs to negate that jab. He must feint to make Dubois work unnecessarily hard with his feet. He needs the counter jab. He needs the right hand parry. He needs timing, not just toughness. After all, this is the science of boxing. Think of this. Take away a man's jab and you take away his confidence. The importance of ring IQ. Wardley needs to learn how to make adjustments. His right hand kept missing, but he did not change the trajectory. The jab kept landing, but he did not improve his defense. Ring IQ is adjustment under pressure. It is seeing the problem before the damage becomes permanent. Think of this. A fighter with power is dangerous, but a fighter who adapts becomes terrifying. So let's talk about variables. And in the rematch, Fabio Wardley's camp would need to be perfect. A perfect camp means great sparring partners, the correct plan, peaking at the right time, and being in phenomenal shape. But it also means building confidence, improving defense, and fighting a more intelligent fight. This cannot be chaos dressed as courage. Think of this. Preparation is invincible until the night exposes everything. So let's talk about psychology. Fabio Wardley seems psychologically to be strong. He has heart. He has courage. He has self-belief. But if I was in his team, I would want a sports psychologist. Because if Fabio has poor psychology, he cannot win this fight, or he dramatically reduces his chances. The mind must be trained too. Think of this. The body throws punches, but the mind survives punishment. And here is some strategic advice. Joe Joyce beat Daniel Dubois with his feet and his jab. Duplicate elements of that strategy. Yes, that was a long time ago, but ignoring evidence makes no logical sense. Dubois lost to Usyk, but Usyk is a southpaw, so that is a different context. Wardley had success with his right uppercut, so throw it more, but set it up correctly. Think of this. Every man has a weakness, but only intelligence knows how to find it. So I'm going to go on a bit of a rant here. So there's various things that need to be done. So when we look at Fabio Wardley and we look at the rematch, we have to rebuild the confidence. Confidence is essential for a fighter. If you don't have confidence, you're not going to win the fight. So the confidence is built in camp, the confidence is built in sparring, the confidence is built before the fight. That needs to be harnessed. That is essential. It's absolutely essential. And then we need to look at some of the technical things, such as the right hand. The right hand for Wardley is an important weapon, so we don't disregard it. However, we need to introduce it behind different things. Before it was the feint and stepping to the right, that's good. But introduce some other things. Maybe do a double jab and then the right hand. Maybe set it up with a short left hook and then the right hand. Maybe a double left hook. Be a bit more creative. And also the counter right hands can still be effective. So you need to get off the ropes, but if you do get pushed back to the ropes, stay with that counter right hand because it's dangerous. And another thing that needs to happen is we need to be winning this jab battle, at the very least competing in this jab battle. So how do you do this? Well, you need to get sparring partners with great jabs or good jabs. And you need to throw more jabs around. You need to throw different kind of jabs, jab off the feint, do the counter jabs. And you need to really refine that. If you refine the jab, you increase your chances of victory exponentially. You increase the chances of landing the hook, the right hook, the left hook, etc. And one of the most important things is that we need to make the ring IQ better. We need to harness in Fabio Wardley, or they need to harness the ability to make adjustments. For example, here's some basic adjustments. If you implement an effective counter right hand, you take away your opponent's backhand. If you can implement the body shots intelligently, then you take away the power of the opponent later in the fight. And if you use movement, which in fairness he did use, then you nullify the opponent's punch opportunities, particularly if the opponent wants to be in the pocket and put the head on the chest. And you have to make sure that the psychology is strong. And like I said, all these things, whether it's technical, whether it's psychological, mental, physical, they need to be harnessed in the camp. They need to be developed in the camp. Another thing I think would be essential, and people might disagree with this, but study rematches, particularly within the heavyweight context. Here's two references: Evander Holyfield Riddick Bowe 2 and Lennox Lewis Hassim Rahman 2. And additional to that, so study those fights, because you'll see that both boxers made intelligent adjustments pre-fight and in the fight, and you can take something from that. And study your weaknesses. So Fabio Wardley, look at his weaknesses, get the timing right. That would be a massive thing. He needs to get his timing right. Introduce creativity, but creativity that's effective, not creativity for creativity's sake. Maybe you get explosive in the clinch. There may be opportunities there. Use the left uppercut or use the left hook to the body. Implement creativity that will be effective. Maybe use the drill. For those that don't know, that's increasing your intensity at the end of the round. So try and steal the rounds. Maybe you have a different approach to this fight, not just looking for the knockout, but looking to win the decision. Don't overcomplicate it. Do not overcomplicate it, but have a clear and concise strategy, because if you've got too much going on, you'll get everything wrong. And the trainers, and he has a good team, they need to review the tapes, what went well, what went wrong, and how can it be improved. And also make sure the communication is concise and effective. The communication between the boxer is essential. That communication needs to be effective. Dubois is going to be very confident going into this rematch. So you need to take that confidence away. So the sparring selection will be essential, not just for the timing, but also for the confidence. Now, looking at this from a historical perspective, irritating Daniel Dubois seems to make him more determined. So focus on winning the fight as opposed to having a psychological edge that completely backfires in the ring. And like I said, going back to the initial point, look at the adjustments Lennox Lewis made in the Rahman fight, and look at the adjustments that Evander Holyfield made in the second Bowe fight, because that potentially is a positive blueprint. So that's the end of the video. Now I'm trying to build a digital boxing community. That means I'm interested in your comments, I'm interested in your questions, and I'm interested in your observations. Now, if you want to support the channel, all you have to do is simply like and subscribe. And if you want to watch more content, then click here or click here. As always, thanks for your time. It is much appreciated.